Moving on, item 3, citizens to be heard, 30-minute limit, 5-minute maximum per speaker. Citizens are offered an opportunity to address the board without prior approval. The board, however, will not comment or engage in discussion. Presentations shall be informative only. No board action will be taken. The topics addressed shall be limited to those specifically included in the board's agenda. Presentations shall not include statements which may be considered defamatory, inflammatory, and/or threatening against a person or the district. And speakers shall not mention students' names unless naming your own child, nor address a complaint against a district employee or officer. Such complaints will be handled through the guidelines set out in district policy. At all other times, members of the public should not enter into any discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board. Yes, Mr. Oresta.
Just real quick, I just wanted to address 2 issues, or bring up 2 issues. One, Mrs. Rodriguez, where are you at? I just want to thank Bel Air for, she got her mouth full. Say that again? I had to write it down. I have 3 grandsons, 2 great nieces, and starting next week, another grandson, all attending Bel Air. And I know Nicholas is going to do as wonderful as the rest of them are doing. So I thank you for what your school does, what all the teachers do, and it's great to come here and visit the kids. I was here last week, I know, and it was awesome. So thank you for your hard work and your dedication to the district. Of course. Also, you want to bring up Dr. Rodriguez? Is he here from STEM? Well, just so you know, I was at a function last week with the Mission Democrats, and they were awarding the STEM high school students that we were recognizing earlier $500 for their trip. And we got a visitor that showed up that was talking about bringing another charter school into Harlandale and about how much better the charter schools were, yada, yada, yada. Make a long story short, Dr. Rodriguez, not only did he put his foot down, but he stood up and gave a 5-minute lecture on how great Harlandale is, how great the STEM high school is, how great all the principals are, the students, what have you. And they brought this person right in front of our kids that were there receiving the recognition and try to push the charter school on the kids too. So they're going to try to bring more charter schools to the district, just so you know. So anyway, Dr. Rodriguez, he did a wonderful job. When you see him, tell him thank you for what he did, because he put his foot down, he stood his ground and said Harlandale's #1. So just give him a kudos whenever you see him. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oresta. We do have 6 citizens. First citizen, Josie Skills.
Good evening, Mr. Bundes and members of the board, Mr. Madrigal and members of cabinet, Harlandale employees and community members. I'm here tonight as an active member of the Political Action Committee that played a major part in getting our bond passed, and as an active member of Bond 2015 Oversight Committee. Our members of the Hope Political Action Committee who worked hard block walking, putting up signs, and meeting with community partners are asking this board to take action to ensure everything that was promised on this bond is actually done, and foremost, that it is done within the bond budget. We have been quoted outrageous costs for construction of Carroll Bell and Vestal, which includes many things the staff and most of this community never requested. Tonight, I'm hoping to see that this project is being brought a little more within reason. I'm sure that can be done. Please remember the $17+ million on the original assessment was to include 4 additional classrooms at Carroll Bell and at Vestal. That was made very clear from the beginning. The next item that I'd like to comment on is agenda item 6D, which should entail fixing some of our district parking lots that have numerous potholes. This was never intended to completely restructure any parking lot, but simply to upgrade and improve surface grading. The proposal that was presented at the last board building committee meeting is again outrageous. We need to do whatever is necessary. $3 million for 3 parking lots is not something Harlandale ISD can afford. $2.1 million is what we budgeted in the bond, and that is where we should be. The 2 items left are additional elementary classrooms and related furniture and fixtures. $4.75 million was budgeted for additional elementary classrooms. This figure was not for 4 additional classrooms at each Carroll Bell and Vestal. These were additional classrooms for additional students moving into Harlandale in the next several years. This board has been made aware of this projection. The furniture and fixtures was budgeted at $3.55 million. This took the bond budget over by $4.32 million already. Anyone who attended one of the numerous town hall meetings put on by staff should have a copy of the breakdown of the bond. Everyone who worked on Hope Political Action Committee did have the breakdown, and that breakdown is what we presented to voters. Our taxpayers and the people who voted for this bond deserve what was promised to them. I hope you are all aware of exactly what was promised. As you know, we're already over, as was projected, approximately $4 million. I've heard many comments about, well, we can get it out of our general fund. I guess you were not here when we hardly had a general fund, when Shea Elementary had to be closed, when there were rumors and innuendos indicating that there would no longer be a Harlandale ISD. That battle was fought long and hard, and thank goodness for some expert financial planning, we are here today with a healthy general fund. But that is where our general fund has to stay. We should not be spending on things not budgeted. We will soon be back in the same place we were several years ago. Please listen to Mr. Hernandez and respect what he has to tell you. There are individuals who will come into our district and take every dollar they can get from us, not caring about our kids or our voters or our taxpayers.
1 minute.
I am pleading with you tonight not to allow that to happen. Please be wary of these individuals and spend wisely. Do not go into our general fund for more money. Please listen to our superintendent and his staff when they try to tell you we do not have the funds. You are here for our children and grandchildren. That is your sole purpose on this board. And that is why each and every one of you were voted into office. Thank you. If I have a minute, I also would like to make an announcement. We have some Harlandale medals on sale back here. If anybody wanted to buy one, Harlandale medals.
Thank you, Ms. Gauss.
Thank you.
Yeah, I bought mine yesterday at Bill Miller's. Moving on to the next speaker, Corina Salcido, please.
Good evening, board members, community members, superintendent, and staff. At the building committee meeting on March 10th, only 2 options were presented at the direction of Harlandale School Board. This is totally different than what was asked for in the facility needs assessment. There was no discussion of 44 classrooms. It would be later determined during programming. So why ask for 44 classrooms when only 34 were wanted? Options 1 and 2 for Carroll Bell and Vestal on March 10th were for square footage and number of classrooms. The board has several options to consider. Please choose the best value, not just the lowest cost for our children. The facility assessment says $16 million for new school is construction cost only, no soft costing included. Another reminder, community repeatedly has requested for reconciliation on dollar amounts, which should be available from Bond 2006, 2009, priority projects, and fall projects. These can be used for our current Bond 2015 projects This has not been answered. HISD District Finance out of the blue announced a $21 million surplus in 2013, which allowed us to do early college, Harlingen McCullum Health Science Technology, auto tech projects. Now we're told there's not enough funds left after the district has paid itself back out of the bond 2015 proceeds. What happened? Let's be transparent. Give us accurate information on funds, the savings from the other bond projects. We ask this because October 29th, administrative gave inaccurate information on savings and costs for setting up in-house project management. Bond Oversight has verified that this information left out such things as employers' taxes, benefits, equipment, etc. That was needed to get an accurate picture. Has the same thing happened with accounting on available bond funding? The community and the the community and the board needs answers. The board needs to make an informed decision. Please be transparent. Once again, we're asked for accurate accounting and savings. So much time could have been saved with accurate information and corrected direction if it would have been given in a timely manner. Larger new schools done right at this time will be a huge benefit to our children in the future by being flexible and lasting longer. Board, please don't shortchange our children by doing smaller, lower-cost new schools with smaller classrooms, with less flexibility. Just to spend less now and regret it later in a few years because we've outgrown our schools. Please do what's right for our children. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Salcido. Ms. Kathy Stein.
Sorry. Good evening, board members, Mr. Madrigal, cabinet, parents, if there are any left, and staff. My name is Kathy Stein, and I'm here on behalf of nonprofit organization Say Yes to Public Schools. It is a grassroots organization made up of parents, community members, and educators who are trying to combat the corporate charter school threat to public education. Charter schools, as most of you probably know, are funded by tax dollars that are intended for public schools. They misrepresent their results on standardized tests, and I reference a TEA report by Ratliff, which you might want to look at, that came out in June of last year, based on standardized test scores and a number of other statistics, wherein it cited that they do far worse on standardized tests than public schools in Texas, and they have a number of other drawbacks that are, that we'll go into. But we are going to be giving a talk, presentation at the PDC on the 20th of April at 5 o'clock, entitled The Illusion of Choice, that will expose some of the myths that are out there on charter schools, since most of the information coming out on charter schools is being generated by charter schools, and there's very little else out there. I think that you'll find that most of the information that the public has is not exactly factual. And we hope that you'll be able to join us. As I said, it will be at the PDC, 5 o'clock on the 20th. And just a little statistic that I'm going to toss out there. National statistics show that for every 4 charter schools that open, 3 public schools close, which is quite scary. And IDEA in San Antonio plans to build 18 more schools in the next 2 years. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Stein. Ms. Lillian Zapata.
Good evening, everybody. Board members, you and this administration are constantly promoting and trying to be transparent, but you never get there. Transparency is not happening at Harlandale. It is unacceptable that I, a taxpayer, a voter, a lifelong community member of Harlandale, will need to submit an open records request in order to get reconciliation information on district bonds. This information should be readily available to the public on the district's website. Taxpayers and the community should be able to know exactly where bond money is spent. Bond information that should include, but maybe not limited to, like amounts for bonds 2006, 2009, 2015, projects constructed per bond, when the projects were completed, original budget for each project, final budget for each project, savings for each project and where the savings are used, added values added to projects or school facilities, who was paid and how much was paid for goods or services on each project. Board members, you would also benefit from having this information at your fingertips when making bond project decisions. Because what I saw when I reviewed last month's board meeting leads me to believe that no one really knows where the money is and where it is being spent. I'm asking this board to ensure that bond budget information is readily available on the district's website. And I'm not asking this because I consider myself special or I don't want to do an open records request. I'm asking because it's the correct thing to do. It's the transparent thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Zapata. Steve Valdez.
Good evening, board members, public servants, staff, and a special good evening to my neighbors who are here. I would like to thank the members of the board who were very helpful in allowing us to restore Yahoo access district-wide. Because having a senior who needed access to her email, and it was Yahoo established, she went from one day being accessible to one day not. And so thank you, Mr. President, and other board members that heard the cries and got that reversed. And I want to encourage staff that if you want to move towards eliminating Yahoo, that you begin a campaign to let the kids know the next fall it's not going to be available. So this way they can establish Gmails, and so seniors can get their scholarship information. Just think of the kids. They're spending a lot of time during school looking up the scholarship info, and that would be very helpful. Cultural Arts Festival was this past week. It was great. Big shout out and kudos to the communications for putting that event together. It's a huge undertaking. All the staff, it was well executed, as it is every year. It's a fantastic event to see come together. The logistics on putting it together, that's what I wanted to do. I want to get up here and congratulate you guys on a really, really good, positive thing. Cultural arts reminds me of Christmas time. Seeing all the people from the district happy and celebrating these children as they come by on the floats and our elected officials. keep in mind next time during the cultural arts that we get up and we're a little bit harsh with one another, we're critical of one another, but at that time, let's set our differences aside. No matter what has happened, or what is said, the Cultural Arts Fair is not the time to give the people you've been at odds with the stink one eye. I will greet everybody. I ask that you do the same. And let's set our differences aside. Let's be cordial. Let's be polite. And let's celebrate what Harlandale is great at. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valdez. Ms. Gina Castaneda.
Good evening, board members, staff, community. First of all, may I say that under citizens to be heard, it is just that, citizens to be heard. I think that we need to check on that statement that it can only be done for what items that are going to be addressed at that issue. This is the only avenue that we have to address the whole board at this one time. So I ask that you do keep it open and that we can have some communication. It is quite obvious that sometimes we don't have that communication with everyone. So that is the only avenue that we do have to address you as a board. I have 3 items tonight that I'd like to address. Well, actually 4. The first one being that we're going to see projects for the bond 2015. Yes, there are some concerns about it being over budget, but if that is the case, and that we went to the community on a certain amount of money for an elementary school, and it was stated on the newsletters, town hall meetings, if that's going to be the case, too bad, schools. You're only going to get $17 million worth of building, and that's not going to be very much. Because of the planning, because of everything else, the money does not stop, or the clock does not stop with the increase of items to build a school. So back when this was going to be presented, per square footage could have been at $183, and that could now be $230. So if we're going to complain about it being over budget, or what we're going to have to do for better the school, are we only going to get part of the school, or are we going to go for the full thing? So I think that we both need to take a good, strong look at that. On the second item that I want to say is on April the 4th of 16, a violation of the Open Meetings Act was violated as far as with the Insurance Policy Committee. Now, it is my understanding, and I did get that.
Excuse me. As you do know, there's items on the agenda that are to be discussed, and you're to address the items on the agenda. I don't believe this particular item is on the agenda.
This is the only avenue we have, and
I'll be okay. I just want to make sure it's not inflammatory comment.
Plus, it's defamatory.
Inflammatory.
thank you. It's not inflammatory, I'm just stating
Defamatory.
fact. It's inflammatory?
Defamatory in the sense that you're saying that we violated. Isn't there a process for her if there's a concern with that?
Yes, there's complaints that can be filed with the district itself. The grievance process can be
Okay.
implemented by filing that with the district as well. So, I mean, there's several issues in regards to that being spoken about here at the meeting.
There is also several issues of the Freedom of Information Act as penalty code 559.03. If you want to take a look at that. I do have my First Amendment right, and if we want to go to a civil suit, we'll go to a civil suit. Because it is a public meeting, and it is not inflammatory, I am stating fact. And I believe the attorney is going to be out of order, not to address me, but it is only to address the board.
Mr. President,
Well-
she is out of order.
The thing is, Miss, when you're saying that we were in non-compliance or whatever your comment was as far as that we held a meeting, what was your comment? I'm sorry. You said, I lost track. But your comment was about that we did something, we violated some statute, we violated some law. So that is.
I am bringing that to you.
But there's a process. I think you know this. If that's a concern, I think in policy, there is a policy that states that there's that
To
concern.
file a grievance against
We're not
the
a
school
grievance.
district?
We're not following agreement, but follow some type of process to file that complaint against us.
To file a complaint against you?
You're saying that we violated something, so I think there's process in our policy that gives you guidance on how to do that rather than in an open, because then that gets closer to that defamatory comments like the attorney said. If you want to talk about April 4th, you're more than welcome to, but I'm going to ask you not to say that we violated some law. Thank you.
Okay, then I'm going to make this statement. You have just violated my civil liberties as a freedom of speech, and I will file a complaint. Now, I will go to the next one, which will probably be defamatory, since we cannot talk about anything but what's on the item, on the agenda. Is that correct, legal counsel?
There's flexibility there, Ms. Casanella.
What's that?
There's flexibility there. Thank you.
So when are we able to address the board and its board member?
School business for the most part. Anything that's in the agenda but within the realm of school business.
Again, you will be violating my civil rights as stated by Penal Code 553.01 because you're shutting me down. So I just want to make that note.
You have about 30 seconds. Thank you.
We're looking for a breakdown of the Bond 06-09 fall projects. Is that also a violation of the freedom? Can I ask that question? Since it's not part of the agenda tonight? I'm asking legal counsel, they were able to give their opinion. Why can't they give us their opinion now? Again.
Ms. Castaneda, your time's up. Just remember, if we don't respond to your comment, that means you can continue. Thank you. Moving on to the next
We
item.
will respond to your comment on the election day.
Thank you. Moving on to, if it's okay with the board members, can we jump straight? And if someone objects, we can go ahead and vote on it. Can we move on to to item 7, committee closed session, because the attorneys involved with the train lawsuit. Was everybody? Yeah, the principals can go home after. Let's just go into
I
closed session.
move to item 7, sir.
Is everybody okay with that? Let's pass this. Okay, motion and a second to move item 7 up. All those in favor? Okay, moving on to item 7, convening closed session. As authorized by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Sections 551.071 through 551.084. The items is the board will discuss the recommended regular personnel report, 551.074. Item 7B, attorney consultation regarding cause number 2012-CI-14254, Harlandale Independent School District versus Train America in the 73rd Judicial District Court of Bexar County, Texas, TTC Section 551.071. Do I have a motion to go into closed session? I have a motion? Second. Second. All those in favor? Ayes have it. We're in closed session. The time is 7:42.